بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of Al-Fiqh al-Istidlali. Our discussion about fasting was about the ways to prove the crescent. And now we want to discuss whether it is permissible to rely on computer or not. We talked about using equipped eye. So, Sheikh Irwani says, if computer is used as a means for seeing the actual picture of the moon or crescent, then this is similar to what we discussed already. But if computer is used to create image by itself based on the data that it receives, then it would not be accepted, and it seems that it's much more problematic. Even those who were saying that we can rely on equipped eye here may say no, because this is not ru'ya. They were saying ru'ya is ru'ya whether it is with normal eye or equipped eye, but that has to be ru'ya. But if computer is creating the image, then it's not ru'ya. So he says ar-ru'yatu fil computer. There is no P in Arabic, so computer. ar-ru'ya fil ajhizat al-haditha ala nahwain. أولا رؤية نفس الهلال. So you see the moon, but with the help that you receive. من خلال الأجهزة المكبرة أو المقربة, by using devices that magnify or bring nearer the object. كالناظور والتلسكوب والعدسة المكبرة. Like, for example, use maybe some kind of camera, some kind of telescope, some kind of lenses that make something bigger. This is the issue of halal and ru'ya, and can be discussed. As we said, some accept, some don't accept. But another way of using computer or alatul hasub is رؤيته في جهاز الكمبيوتر وذلك بنصب كاميرات مزودة بقطع كمبيوترية حساسة تجاه النور, by putting different cameras which are equipped with very sensitive digital parts. So these different cameras are facing where they expect ru'ya could be possible. So when the new moon is born, they know which direction is more likely that the moon can be sighted. So they use different cameras and they get data or very small light. Then the main device puts all this data together and creates an image. ثم تربط, تربط is كاميرات بجهاز computer which يحول, this جهاز transforms, changes, converts ما تلتقطه الكاميرا, what those cameras take, transform into صورة الهلال. So the nur that camera nur is explaining ما تلقته. The nur that those cameras take, they transform it into shape of crescent on the screen على الشاشة. خب المناسب عدم كفاية ذلك. Why؟ فإنه إن كان يحتمل كفاية الرؤية بالأجهزة الحديثة. Although it's possible that maybe someone says seeing the moon with modern equipment is okay, as long as you see the moon. But maybe it's only when the actual sighting takes place. ينبغي أن يكون المقصود خصوصا نحو الأول. Those people who say we accept seeing the moon with the equipped eye, they mean the first type. And they may say باعتبار إطلاق أدلة حجية رؤية is حجة. This is also رؤية, you are seeing the moon, but with help. Although we said this is by itself, something that we need to discuss. Not everyone accepts, but it's possible, as long as it is called رؤية. أما الرؤية بالنحو الثاني فليست لنفس الهلال. You don't see the moon. You see something on the screen which is like the moon. It's the image of the moon, but it's not actually there. It's not that you see this in the sky. لا أقل, the minimum is that you should doubt. You don't know إطلاقات include this or not. Okay? لا أقل من الشك في شمول الإطلاقات لها. Sometimes you know something is part of إطلاق and you don't know whether it is excluded or not. أصالة الإطلاق helps you. Okay? For example, رقبة, أعطى رقبة. Is رقبة to be mu'min or not? You don't know. أصالة الإطلاق says any رقبة. But you cannot use أصالة الإطلاق to define the meaning of رقبة. Okay? So أصالة الإطلاق cannot be used for something that you are not sure it is included in the first place or not. خب, this is a short discussion about using computer. The third is about relying on opinion of falakiyin, those who are experts in astronomy and nujum. They may say that, for example, based on our calculation, definitely new moon will be visible at this time or will be born at this time, etc. The point here is also very important, that are they calculating the moon in its visible phase or just the birth of the moon, the birth of new moon? Because the birth of new moon is not enough, because it is not visible. At the very early hours it's not visible because below our visible scope, very near to the horizon. خب أما القضية الثالثة فلا تكفي شهادة الفلكيين بخروج القمر من المحاق. Testimony of falakiyin, experts of astronomy, astronomers, that moon has come out of its mahaq. Mahaq, the conjunction where moon was hidden, buried. When moon is born, comes out of mahaq. It's like, imagine a special space. Imagination of a special space. It's like, for example, something coming out of a well. Okay? So, If Falakiyin say that moon is now out of Mahaq, moon is born, this is not enough. Why? لأن الروايات علقت وجوب الصوم والإفطار على الرؤية, because our hadith have made obligation of fasting or breaking fasting at the beginning of the month of Ramadan, iftar at the end for beginning of Shawwal, صوم للرؤية وأفطر للرؤية. Okay, so our hadith says beginning of Ramadan and wujub of fasting can be established with ru'ya. End of month of Ramadan, beginning of Shawwal, and hurma of fasting on the day of Eid also is established with ru'ya. Okay, so our hadith have made wujub of Sawm at the beginning and wujubul iftar at the end ala ru'ya. It depends on ru'ya. They made it conditional upon ru'ya. Sawm lil-ru'ya wa aftar lil-ru'ya. وَلَا مُلَازَمَةَ بَيْنَ الْأَمْرَيْنِ. There is no correlation between خُرُوجُ الْقَمَرِ مِنَ الْمَحَاقِ, which is the birth of new moon, and being visible. لا ملازمة بينهما. If you say, why you are so much emphasizing on ru'ya? Ru'ya was a way, a tariq, a method to be sure that the new moon is there. إن قلت إن الرؤية مأخوذة بنحو الطريقية. Ru'ya is taken as a means, as a way, as a method. If without ru'ya you can be sure that we are in the same time, it's okay. Why are you so much emphasizing on ru'ya? Sheikh Irvani says, yes, ru'ya is a tariq. But tariq to what? Tariq to the birth of moon, or tariq to certain age of moon, when the moon is at certain height and is visible. What do you want to establish? We don't say always ru'ya must be there. No, if you have yaqeen, if you have bayyana, etc., it's okay. Even if Falakiyin, all of them say that, for example, at this time, moon is visible and you are certain, that's fine. But if they say moon is born and it's impossible to be seen, it's too young, then we cannot rely on that. قلت نعم. Yes, I say yes. Ru'ya is tariq. It's not mawzu. Sometimes we say something as mawzu'iyat, sometimes we say tariqiyat. If it has mawzu'iyat, means it's part of the subject matter and we need it. قلت نعم ولكن المهم أنها طريق لأي شيء. Yes, it is tariq, it's a way, but a way to establish what? To establish birth of the new moon, or establish certain height and age of new moon. يحتمل أخذها، يعني أخذ الرؤية طريقا إلى ثبوت ولادته، but بحد تمكن رؤيته بالعين. It's possible to take ru'ya as a tariq, but tariq not to the birth. Tariq to establishing birth to the extent that it's possible to see it. Not just birth, because we know that the beginning, it's not visible. بحد تمكن رؤيته بالعين. It should be visible with the eyes. لا إلى ثبوت خروجه من المحاق. If their calculations want to establish that moon is now out, is born, This is not enough. ومنه يتضح أن الفلكيين إذا شهدوا ببقاء القمر بعد الولادة إلى حد تمكن رؤيته بالعين المجردة وحصل الاطمئنان من شهادتهم ولو بسبب عدم الاختلاف فيما بينهم أمكن الحكم بالاعتبار. From this it becomes clear that if astronomers bear witness that moon has remained after birth so long that now it can be seen with naked eye. Okay, they say it has been enough in the sky that now you can see it with the unequipped or naked eye. If they say this, and you have now itminan. Itminan means almost yaqeen. Either yaqeen you have, or itminan means the probability is so high that leaves no doubt, no hesitation. Itminan al-muta'akhim lil-yaqeen is very close to yaqeen. You are confident, you have peace of mind, you don't worry. So from their witnesses' testimony, you have yaqeen or itminan. How? For example, because you see all astronomers say the same thing. If they disagree with each other, then you cannot be sure. But suppose all of them say the same thing. All of them say that, for example, on Friday, for example, at this time, it is visible, or it has reached that it can be visible. Maybe you cannot see it, but they say it has reached the point that it is possible to see it. If this is the case, أمكن الحكم بالاعتبار. Many times people don't understand. They think science can solve all the problems here. The problem is that the definition doesn't come from science. Science is a technique. Science cannot tell you, is, for example, birth of moon enough, or it has to be visible? Or is visibility in every horizon needed? Or, for example, if they share night, or if they share most of the night, or they don't need to share anything. So these are things that we cannot learn from science. These are the things that we need to understand from fiqh. And then science, after we give clear requirements to science, you can use science, and if you become certain, it's fine. But sometimes these scientific methods don't bring certainty. The next issue is at-tatawwuq. You must have seen this in many rasail amaliyah. There is this discussion. Sometimes the first night is very difficult to see the moon. Okay? But then you see in the second night the moon. And you see that moon is very clear and there is light around it. It's like a necklace. It's like a circle, for example, around the crescent. It's not a circle, like something that's surrounding the crescent. Can we say this is a proof that last night was the first night? Because in the first night we cannot see the moon like this. So we can realize that now it is the second night. So the night before then was the first. If we didn't fast it, we have to fast it. For example, do qaza, for example. Ulama normally say that no, this is not a proof. Some of mutaqaddimin, some of earlier ones, they were accepting But let us see what could be the reason for their acceptance and what should be our position. So at-tatawwuq comes from tawq. Tawq is like a necklace, something that is put around something. Here is used for the light which is around the crescent. قيل إن التطوق علامة كون الهلال لليلة الثانية. It has been said that tatawwuq is a sign that now hilal is in the second night. للصحيحة مرازم عن أبيه عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام, because there is a sahiha, there is authentic hadith from Imam Sadiq عليه السلام إذا تطوق الهلال فهو لليلتين. If hilal has tawq, then it is the hilal of the second night. وإذا رأيت ظل رأسك, if you go outside and you see that your head shadow is visible. In the first night there is no shadow of moon, not electricity, moon. If there is no light except light of the moon, okay, when crescent is larger, you start having shadow in the night, a small shadow, not like day, but there is shadow. From the third night, it's very likely that you will have shadow. So Imam, according to this hadith, said, إِذَا رَأَيْتَ ظِلَّ رَأْسِكَ فِيهِ, if you see shadow of your head in hilal, under crescent moon, فَهُوَ لِلثَّلَاث, then this hilal is for the third night. Okay? It starts with the third night, so at least it's the third night. If you had it last night and this night, then it becomes fourth, but the beginning is the third night. What should we do? You know that every hadith sahih is not necessarily accepted. We have to istidlali, we have to see ta'adul, taraji. Sometimes there are two conflicting hadiths. Even you remember we said ta'aruz is after two hadiths are both reliable, authentic in themselves. So let's see what should we do with this hadith. في المدارك والجواهر أن عدم الاعتداد بذلك مذهب الأصحاب. Sahib Madarik and Sahib Jawahir, both of them have said that the view of our Shia scholars is not to take this into consideration. They don't accept tatawwuq. And they said, لا نعلم فيه خلافا. They say we don't know anyone who disagrees. On the other hand, Sheikh Saduq في الفقيه, يعني في من لا يحضره الفقيه, has mentioned this hadith and لم يرد الصحيح. Although Man La Yahthur is a book of hadith, but it's possible from muqaddimah, from introduction, to say that hadith that he has brought here are hadith that he accepted, because he didn't want just to give collection of hadith. He says Man La Yahdhuruhu al-Faqih. This book is like teach yourself fiqh. So if you don't have access to fiqh, he wanted to tell you how to act. So Sheikh Saduq lam yarud as-sahiha, number one, plus because of what he says in muqaddimah, introduction, we can realize that he was acting upon it. وَذَلِكَ يَكْشِفُ عَنْ عَمَلِهِ بِهَا, یعنی عمل صدوق شیخ صدوق به این روایت بها به روایت لما ذکره شیخ الصدوق فی مقدمت شیخ بر علا من لا یحضره الفقیه. Therefore someone may say, then at least we have one person who said it is okay. ربما ينسب الرأي المتقدم إليه. So maybe this opinion, which is to accept tatawwuq for second night can be attributed to him. Fil Jawahir, we said Sahib Madarik and Sahib Jawahir, they said we don't know anyone who disagreed. Means who has clear fatwa that tatawwuq is accepted. Sahib Jawahir himself says, yes, maybe in Al-Zakhira, Al-Khurasani, Al-Faqih Al-Khurasani, has inclination towards it. But why they said Lam Najid Khilafan? Because inclination doesn't mean that there was explicit fatwa. He was somehow leaning towards that, but he didn't say yes. What about another early faqih, Sheikh Kulayni? ربما يحتمل عمل الشيخ الكليني بها. There is also possibility, although again there is no fatwa, but Sheikh Kulayni, again in introduction of Al-Kafi, says he brings hadith in this book which are according to him reliable. لذكره لها في كتابه, because he has mentioned this hadith Sahih Murazim and Abi Abdullah. He has mentioned this in his book Al-Kafi. If you add to this what he has said in the Muqaddimah, introduction of Al-Kafi, because this was a response to request someone who said, we are confused sometimes, we don't know what to do, what kind of hadith to take, etc. Na'am qad yushkal. Maybe sometimes objection is made. Bima fil madarik wa ghayrihi. We said Sahib Madarik and Sahib Jawahir, they said, our ashab don't accept this. And we didn't find khilaf. So what is their objection to this hadith? They are aware of this hadith. Min mu'arazat dhalik. They say there is ta'aruz. This hadith is in conflict bima dalla, with all the evidence that we have, which says that tariq, the way to establish halal, is exclusive, and Hasan is exclusive to ru'ya. Either you cite it yourself, أو مذي 30 يوما, or 30 days have passed from the previous citing. So if month of Sha'ban was established, 30 days have passed, now it must be month of Ramadan, because month of Sha'ban cannot be 31. No lunar month can be 31, either 29 or 30. Avish shahidain, if there are two witnesses, so there is no mention of tatawwuq. وبما دل على أن إفطار يوم الشك لا يوجب القضاء. And also it has been said that if you are in doubt, it is 30th of Sha'ban or is the 1st of Ramadan, this is Yawm al-Shak, what should you do? You don't fast as Ramadan. You can do mustahab fasting, or for example qadha if you have, or break, just eat. You cannot make niyyah of Ramadan. Okay, Yawm al-Shak fi annahu min Sha'ban or Ramadan. Then if it is established that it is month of Ramadan, okay, there is no kafara, but you need to do qadha. But they have not said that if you see the second night, the talk around the moon, you have to do qadha. They said no, if bayyana is there. Roya cannot happen for the night which has passed. You can have roya in the next night. Is it 1st of Ramadan or 2nd of Ramadan? They said if people say we have seen it to شاهد عادل. They say we have seen it last night, you were not aware, you do غذا. But they didn't say if you see tatawwuq, do غذا. خب Sheikh Irvani says maybe we can say, okay, they didn't want to mention all the details. They didn't say only ru'ya and only passing of 30 days and shahidain. Or they said qadha is only with bayyana. No, it was mutlaq. They didn't want to mention all the details. We can say this is another way of taqyid. But there is another thing. ما في كلمات بعض المتأخرين من أن الصحيحة معرض عنها بين الأصحاب. It's not just itlaq and conflicting with itlaq of other hadith. No, it's i'raz of ashab. If our scholars of fuqaha, jurists were aware of a hadith, even they had quoted themselves, but still they didn't act upon it, then it puts doubt in our mind. ما في كلمات بعض المتأخرين من أن الصحيحة معرض عنها بين الأصحاب. Sheikh Irvani says وفيه عدم ثبوت الإعراض. He says we cannot be sure that our ashab have made i'raz. Why? Because we said maybe Sheikh Saduq didn't do i'raz because he has mentioned this in Man La Yahduru al-Faqih and didn't comment, didn't say I don't accept this based on introduction of Man La Yahdur. He should accept and act upon it. Al-Kafi Kulaini says this, and based on the Muqaddamah it should be something that he accepts. He relies on it for practice. So if we think that at least there is a chance and there is ihtimal, even if there is ihtimal, إذا جاء الاحتمال بطل الاستدلال, then you cannot say our ashab have done i'raz of this hadith. ومع التنزل, suppose we compromise. Okay, suppose we say they did i'raz. Okay, suppose we accept, we say there was i'raz. Forget about Sheikh Saduq and Sheikh Kulaini, maybe they didn't act upon it. Okay, we accept i'raz. خب maybe this i'raz was because of the reason that Sahib Madarik said, and we don't accept that i'raz. If their i'raz is for something that we know and we don't accept, then that i'raz is not important. But if their i'raz was maybe they heard something from Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they were aware of the suluk and da'ab and a style of Ahlul Bayt, they knew that this is not from Ahlul Bayt, that's different. But if we know that their i'raz, or if we even think that their i'raz is for something that we mentioned as number one from Sahib Madarik, that's the issue of itlaq, then that is not stopping us using this hadith. ومع التنزل, if we say there was i'raz, لا نجزم بكون الإعراض تعبديا, we don't have certainty that this was ta'abbudi, they had something from Ahlul Bayt. No, maybe it was based on istidlal. الاحتمال أن يكون عدم عملهم بها لمعارضتها بما ذكره في المدارك. خب, then we look at what Sahib Madarik said, like ijma. If ijma is madraki, is based on an evidence like a hadith, we don't accept that ijma. We look at that hadith. Ijma, if it is madraki or even muhtamal al-madrakiyya, we don't accept. لعل الأجدار. This is the last part for tonight. Sheikh Irvani says, maybe it's more probable, more plausible, suitable to make this objection. Not what Sahib Madarik said and not i'raz. To say tatawwuq is not something rare. It happens in many months, many years can happen. If such a thing was accepted, it should have become well known. لو بان لاشتهر. If this was an evidence, then it would have become very famous. بأن التطوّق لو كان علامة لاشتهر. If it was a sign, it would have become famous. Why? Because this is not rare. The issue is مبتلى به, and this is also not rare. لابتلائية المسألة means this مسألة is مبتلى بها بحيث يلزم أن ينعكس ذلك على فتاوى الأصحاب. When something happens a lot and people need to know, it's affecting their practice, their taklif, fuqaha should have addressed this issue. Even imams should have talked about it, or people should have asked imam about this. Al-adamu yakshifu an al-adam. When there is no ishtihar, so adamul ishtihar yakshif an adam hujjiyah. That this is not acceptable. Okay, inshallah, in the next session we will talk about hukmul hakim. What is the difference between hukm and fatwa? And if hakim issues a verdict, not fatwa, issues a verdict, is it acceptable or not? Shall we discuss it next session? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I take your leave because I have to go somewhere. So inshallah, if you have questions, please write it down. We ask, we inshallah answer next week. Thank you very much. التماس دعاء. في أمان الله.